Now, there's a new report out by The Guardian that shows that Jared Kushner is a deeply corrupt individual and may have some conflicts of interest. No, really. I know, we're supposed to be surprised, but we're not. Now, nonetheless, it is a great report from The Guardian, doing some real journalism here. Now, in the report, they note that a company partly owned by Jared Kushner had received about $90 million in foreign funding from a very shady offshore vehicle since he entered the White House as a senior advisor to President Trump, who was also his father-in-law. Now, investment money flowed from overseas to the company called Cadre, while Kushner works as an international envoy to the U.S., according to corporate filings as well as interviews from people in the company. Now, the money apparently came through a vehicle run by Goldman Sachs in the Cayman Islands. Now, the Cayman Islands, you guys know, is a tax haven. Now, the benefit of course, using the Cayman Islands as a tax haven is not just shielding your taxes, but also you have guaranteed corporate secrecy. So we don't know a lot of the details, which is why it is an incredibly shady financial vehicle. Now, Kushner, who was married to Trump's eldest daughter, Ivanka, according to the article, kept a stake in Cadre after joining the administration, which you were supposed to divest from, while selling other assets. His holding is now valued at up to $50 million, according to financial disclosure documents. Now, obviously, getting money from foreign entities while you work as an envoy opens up some pretty big potential conflicts of interest. I mean, again, I shouldn't have to spell it out for you guys. It's deep corruption, right? Now, Jessica Tillipman, a lecturer at George Washington University Law School, who teaches government ethics and anti-corruption laws, said this, quote, "It would cause people to wonder whether he is being improperly influenced by still holding a stake in that company that's getting all this foreign funding." Well, to be fair, I think people have already wondered about whether or not Jared Kushner has conflicts of interest. Now, the idea that Kushner had some sort of interest was actually explored, and why he was initially denied a security clearance by officials when he joined the Trump administration. Now, of course, later on, he apparently got help from some pro-Trump officials to try to get that security clearance, even though he really shouldn't have one, having these conflicts of interest. Now, a whistleblower told Congress that it was blocked due to concerns about Kushner's outside business interests as well as foreign influence. And you're going to see at least one foreign influence here that we know about. I think Kushner, of course, is deeply corrupt and filled with foreign money. And, of course, I think also Ivanka is as well. The whole Trump family, I think, is filled with foreign money and conflict of interest and corruption. In fact, I think the whole family seems like they're running a criminal enterprise, okay? Profiting off the presidency, I think in a way that we've never seen so openly brazen before. It's the corruption, man. And, of course, the corruption is why it's completely legal right now to hide the people who have invested in that vehicle, thanks to, again, foreign tax havens and things like that. Now, funding from the Cayman Islands vehicle, according to the Guardian, goes directly into Cadre's real estate purchases in the U.S., according to sources familiar with the company's work. Cadre then charges an annual fee and takes a cut of the profit made from these properties. So this is foreign money going through this shady company in the Cayman Islands that then goes and uses that shady investment money to buy property in the U.S. To me, that sounds like, I don't know, money laundering, possibly. But we don't know. We don't know. So Cadre makes money from that. And, of course, Kushner, since he has a stake in the company, also profits handsomely. Again, wonder if there's any corruption here. If you don't see it, here's an example. Sources familiar with the Cadre setup said a small amount of money in the Goldman Cadre vehicle, estimated at about $1 million, came from our friends in Saudi Arabia. Now, other funding arrived through vehicles based in the British Virgin Islands, adding another layer of offshore secrecy to its origins. Or, if you ask Trump, it's oranges. Now, who has a good relationship with Saudi Arabia? Oh, right, Donald Trump and Jared Kushner. In fact, as Trump's special representative in the Middle East, Kushner has developed a closer relationship with Saudi Arabian officials, particularly the Crown Prince, Mohammed bin Salman, or who I like to call Mohammed Bone Salman. Now, Virginia Cantor, the chief ethics counsel at the watchdog group Citizens for Responsibility and Ethics in Washington, said the opaque investments in Cadre would continue raising concerns as Kushner carried out his government duties. Quote, "It was one of the only assets that Kushner retained, and it continues to collect foreign investors without transparency." And so, again, it's important to point out how you are supposed to divest all of your assets, but much like his father-in-law, Jared Kushner has not divested from all of his assets and continues to make money from Cadre, from holding this stake in this company that does real estate. Now, finally, Cadre also, more corruption, right? Recently announced plans to raise multi-million-dollar funds to invest in real estate development in parts of the U.S. covered by the Trump administration's Opportunity Zones program. Opportunity Zones. Now, an Opportunity Zone is basically a place that covers offers valuable tax breaks to developers and investors. Now, what is a developer? Who is a developer? Jared Kushner. Kushner is also known for being basically a slumlord, right? And owning some very shady investments, to which he tried to get other foreign funding, most famously from, wasn't Qatar, was it? Nah, I'm kind of blanking on that. The United Arab Emirates, perhaps. One of those Middle Eastern countries who was allies of Saudi Arabia, he ended up trying to get funding from, which didn't actually work. He wasn't actually able to get funding from them. But he certainly tried, and he certainly tried to use his leverage as a member of the Trump administration in order to get that funding. Now, the program, and here's even more corruption, was championed by Ivanka Trump, according to a father who said at a White House event that Ivanka had been pushing this very, very hard. Now, the remarks raised allegations that policies she worked on could benefit her husband financially. And of course, to that they say, "Oh, no, how dare you even make that accusation? How dare you? My husband and I are running a stand-up business, as is my father. But you shouldn't be running a business at all or having any sort of stake in these companies, even if you started the company yourself. Look, if Jimmy Carter had to give up his peanut farm in order to become president, then why shouldn't Jared Kushner be forced to divest from that now what is worth $50 million in a shady-ass company? And look, he's nearly made $100 million from this, right? And if there's a massive investment from other investors, he's going to profit. They're going to make millions of dollars. Millions. And then who knows what favors Kushner is going to owe to, what I believe to be multiple foreign investors. This is why we make people divest everything before they get into power. To avoid this kind of corruption and influence. And to stop people from personally profiting off the decisions they make in government. And that's what's important about this. This administration is so openly and deeply corrupt. And I'm not saying any other administration is not corrupt. What I'm saying is that I think this is probably the most corrupt administration, at least that I've ever seen in my lifetime. Of all the time covering politics, and I admit I haven't been covering politics for decades and decades, but I think it's long enough that I know a corrupt administration now when I see it. And this is corrupt. And it's no surprise because, well, the fish rots from the head down. And this fish is pretty rotted. Hey guys, hopefully you enjoyed that free video. Now I'm going to have to ask you a favor. Between the demonetization and YouTube algorithm messing around with view counts, etc. We're having a hard time adjusting to the new YouTube reality, which is where you guys come in. See, we have a Patreon, patreon.com/TYTNation, set up to help us rely on you guys, the viewers, instead of big corporate ads. Look, you know the show. You know how I'm not in favor of big corporations anyway. So help us transition away from relying on the ad model to pay the bills and sign up to be a patron, patreon.com/TYTNation. That goes a long way to help us keep the lights on. And you guys will know that you're supporting independent progressive media.